All right, everybody, welcome to the stream. Let's get it set up here and go live. I think we are now live, but I need to check the video feed is coming in. All right. So, welcome to the stream of DCSS AI Wrapper. We are working on an API to do AI research with Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. And right now, just our schedule, we're a little bit ad hoc. So we won't be doing a stream next week, but we'll pick up the week after. I'm not sure what time it'll be. Sometime in the evenings on the East Coast. I would say just subscribe so you get notified if you want to attend the streams live. And then I think when we get back, or starting in May, we'll set up a more regular schedule. We were doing Thursdays at 7:30 before, so we're going to figure that out. Anyway, it's exciting. Continuing to make progress. For tonight, we're going to focus on documentation. So not the most entertaining thing, although to start some stuff off, I started to do a few tests. So I think while we're doing documentation, we can let an agent run in the background for part of it. And so I kind of just wanted to show that off. This agent is now pushed. Basically, it's just an agent that plays the tutorial using the fast downward planner. And the thing here is that we've actually added some code to give the agent kind of 4 goals. These correspond to the goals in the tutorial. So here, I'll just show that right now. If we log in here and we go to the tutorial, we start a new one just to make it more clear. Lesson 1. So this is if you're new to the game, this is where you might start. And there's a message here that tells you you're going to learn to move around in this level. And so the first goal is to reach this first blue square. If you do it, you get another message. And then it says just explore a bit and see if you can reach the next blue square. And then this could be the second goal. And basically each blue square, this is the next one. And finally, the fourth goal that we're going to give the agent is just to reach the stairs. So with these 4 goals, we wanted to measure how long does it take the planning agent, basically with a simple kind of goal selection mechanism, using a similar function we'd written before to explore, how long does it take for it to achieve all of these goals? So it's like a mini experiment we wanted to run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit out of this, and I will show this new agent. So basically, we have this agent, and calling it the Fast Downward Planning Agent TUT1, short for Tutorial 1. And it has some variables to just kind of keep track of things. Right now, we're just hard coding the goals into this agent. Maybe if we're doing something more generalized later, we might put those in a file. And then we have a simpler version than what we have in the other planning agent we've written, which is the fast downward planning agent.py. This one is just saying if there's a cell I haven't visited and I want to get the goal of visiting a cell I haven't visited, just give me one randomly. So that's what this function does. Get random non-visited non-wall player at goal. Player at is the predicate that is actually the goal that is written to the PDDL file that the planner then uses. And then we have our planning function, which is just called get plan from fast downward. We are keeping track of some data, so that's kind of cool. So I added a data folder to the, there's a lot of files in here. If you were to clone the repository, you wouldn't see these. You would just see the README. That's because these are generated, so we don't want to push these to the repo. But if you run this agent in the way that we're running it, it will write data to the file whenever it finishes. So this is useful. We're going to do a bunch of runs. We have something to kind of keep track of the order of the goals. So the first goal, and here we're hard coding these cells. Not the most general way, but it's, this is a simple mini experiment we want to do for the first tutorial. Then we have our action space that we're limiting it to. So we're just saying only consider movement actions, basically. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a function that is actually not being used in this agent. Let's just find usages. So, yeah, I guess we want to execute some action at the very end, just before we start quitting the game, just to make sure we kind of write the file. This really isn't needed, but it kind of completes the loop, so to speak. So this is not really used. And then this is cool. So to do this, I had realized that we needed a feature where an agent could request to start a new game. So until now, if I go to config.py, which is in connection, so we've also reorganized the code base, split things up a bit, which it just separates things out. You're looking from the file structure, you can get a clear idea of where everything is, rather than having a bunch of classes all in one file, which is what we had before. So there are some things here where we can limit the agent for a number of actions. So this means if this is not negative, if this is set to a positive integer, then that means that once that number of actions have been executed, the API will end the game and start a new game. If you have auto start new game set to be true. And so that's one way. We also had something where if the player dies, it'll kind of restart and do next game. But we didn't have something where the agent could just decide on its own, hey, I want to play another game. I want to end this game. So that's what we've done here. And we've basically added this function where, and this is in the agent parent class. So we have basically two functions we recommend in coding, or that you can recode in coding. What am I saying? Coding. So this is just saying, this is among all agents. This function will be recognized in the Autobahn in terms of connection to the game, etc. So if we go back, basically this is saying if we've achieved all our goals, we don't want to keep playing. We want to start a new game. And then get action. This is where a little bit of logic happens. We check to see if we've reached a blue goal, or one of these goals, and there's 4 of them that we have. If we've reached it, then let's move on to the next one, right? Unless we don't have any left, in which case let's end. Otherwise, we're going to execute the next action in the plan, and then we'll continue. If our plan is empty, we will generate a new plan. So actually, so if it can see one of the blue tiles, it knows that those are the goals, so it'll just plan to reach it. Otherwise, it will generate an exploration goal. So this is where we call that function to get a random tile we have not visited, that's not a wall, and then we try to generate a plan to reach there. If we can't generate a plan, we get this exception, but turns out this doesn't actually happen. So what happens if we run this? It's actually pretty neat. I'm actually going to make... Yeah. So let's go ahead and run this, and we'll see what happens. Main web server. I knew I would find it eventually. Okay, here we go. So let's run this. Okay, we're graphing. Yep, it's gonna show that after. So right. Oh, is it already running? No, I think it's fine. No such file directory models. Really? General DCSS knowledge. But it's right here. Why is there a 1? Maybe I don't think I want to do this one. Okay, and it's working, hopefully. Okay, so if we watch the agent, okay, so here you go, it's playing. And what's cool is that this will just auto rerun this once it's done. So we'll let this run for a little bit until it finishes. I think it takes a few minutes of real world time, clock time, wall clock time, I think is what they call it. And then what we will see in our data folder, we'll get a new file. So 2 days ago, I ran this for a little bit, generated all these files, but we should see a file, dated 13th of April pop up here. And so this is, and this is all on the GitHub now. So if you go check out the GitHub, there's a branch called YouTube Stream with today's date, and you can check it out and run it. So it's running, and right. So given that, I wanted to just go ahead. I'm just gonna let that run while I work on just cleaning up the Git Ignore, because we've kind of had some stray files come up. So I'm just gonna share that window just so you can see, follow along. So if I do that, okay. Okay, that looks like that's it. Okay, so this is the Git terminal we're in. Maybe I'll just... Nope. Cool, so if you saw, it finished, and now it just automatically started a new game. So this is one of the really nice things about the API. I'm actually really happy to see this as all just working. It can run many games in a row. It's all playing on the web server. So, and if we go to the data folder, we see 11th of April and then 13th April. So this was just written. So pretty neat. And then all your data files are here. And then I did write, a visualization tool in this visualization folder. So if you wanted to graph those results, this is one graph that I just wanted to see kind of what the minimum and maximum is. So if we run this, we get this. And so this is pretty neat, right? I don't think you're seeing this actually. Let me share this window. So we're just using matplotlib to do this. And all right, you can see it. So this is the graph we get. And what we can see is that we are looking at the number of actions executed as the x-axis. And then we're seeing the number of goals that we've achieved. So there's 4 goals. So what this is telling us is like, and what the blue line, dark blue line here is the average. And the shaded area is the minimum and maximum. So on average, it takes, almost every agent immediately is able to achieve the first goal. And so it jumps right, with like 7 actions, it jumps right up here to a score of 1. That's because it can see that goal. And so if it can see the goal, it can go right to it. And then it takes a little longer, right? So it takes a little bit so to reach goal 2.0, there's a little variance. It looks like the fastest agent has done it in maybe like 20 actions, 25 actions, but the slowest agent took almost 150 actions to reach the second goal. And then we can see the performance, and basically by action 250, the agents, all agents have achieved, the agent on average has achieved this goal. But it was the case that one agent took as long as 350 actions to reach, or maybe a slightly more than 350 actions to reach all 4 goals. So this is pretty neat. This is a little bit of infrastructure to run experiments. If you want to check out the code, we're still early in the development, so I'm not even counting that we've reached version 0.1 on our roadmap. But nevertheless, it's still functional. So if you want to hop on board early, you want to run some experiments with it, this is for research after all. Here are some examples, and the plan is just to leave these in the GitHub in case they're useful for folks. So with that, I'm going to hide this. And I just want to point out, so the agent's still running. So it doesn't look like it here because this is showing the graph results code, but this is still running. And what's neat is that if we click and watch, okay, and this one just finished. So it just keeps recreating characters. Now, unfortunately, I don't know how to get this to automatically spectate every new game. If you do want to look at it, you have to go click on it, but it's still running. And if we look now, yeah, so it's already played four games here. And we've collected 4 data files. So yeah, that's pretty neat. Wanted to show that, and we'll let that run. Why not? And then let's look at these files. So did a git status here, and I just want to clean this up. I like having no red on my git status. I don't know how you guys feel when you use git, but I like to clean this up whenever I can. So, and tonight we're going to be working on documentation. So, you know, the mode is kind of like clean things up, polish things a little bit, get them all nice and organized. So with that, let's figure out what we want to do. So these custom sprints, find the gold. I don't know why this got, I don't know why this is no longer being tracked, but we might as well add. So I haven't talked about this. This is something I think we can only run on the, when you're running it locally on like, which I've only been able to do on Linux in ASCII mode. So later on, I'll do a stream on that where I demo that. So far I've been running everything with Windows using Docker to run the web server. This is not actually running the web server. It's just running the game via the command line. So, but there's a way to make custom levels and load them. Or you can, or I guess these are sprints. Oh, you know what? I bet there's a way that we could load these into the web server. We just have to throw them on the Docker container, and then it should show up under the sprints. If we click sprint here, oh nope. Oh, is this gonna mess up things? Let's just, okay, let's not do this. Okay, still playing just fine. Okay, awesome. Okay, so basically you can make custom sprints, and that's useful if you want to test out, design your own tests for AI. But either way, we're going to keep that file. So I don't know why that got unadded. But find the gold. We're going to just do a git add here. And then docs/API. Right, for docs/API. So this is what I wanted to focus on for tonight. So basically I made this folder, and then all these files, these should be generated by Sphinx when we do auto documentation. And I don't think we want to, keep these. I could be wrong, but they should just be auto generated. So, but we do want to keep some of the, we do want to keep like usage. So I don't know if I should add a README in here about the API, but I think for now we're going to ignore that. So I'm going to go to the git ignore, and we are going to ignore doc/API/API docs should be auto generated using Sphinx auto doc tool. And that's we're gonna get that working tonight. So let's do that, and let's do a git status. Okay, it picked it up there. So then models, fd temp files. I don't think we want either of these. DCSS plan and state.pdl, those should both be generated. So let's add those to the git ignore. So we're going to do models / fd temp files / DCSS plan.sas. And then we're also going to do these and state.pdl. I want to keep the README in there. I like to have a README in almost every folder, just so if you're navigating the GitHub, it just makes it a little more friendly, because you can kind of tell what this folder is for, even if it's empty. And so let's go ahead and say both of, actually let's say all files except the README in FD temp files should be generated by agents. So let's just do that. I think that makes that clear. Let's do a git status again, clean that up. Okay, we got 2 more models/tests. So what is this? Oh yeah, I was testing out the planner with blocks really just to make sure I actually had to reinstall downward. So and I'll do another video on installing downward on Windows, because that was a little, I had to do it through Visual Studio Developer PowerShell, so that was a little tricky. But I got it to work, and we have this folder downward. So, which has the planner in it. The planner is this file, fastdownward.py. So in terms of tests, I'm going to ignore those. I'm going to keep those just locally on my system. Models/tests. Yeah. If you want to test the planner manually, put PDL domain, let's just say PDL model files, into this folder. But we don't want to keep those around. So, and then there's temp. What did I put in temp? Oh, yeah. I think we'll just Wireshark captures. Oh my god. So glad I don't have to do that anymore. That's just temp. Meh. Just gonna ignore that for now. Oh. Okay. Is he about to play another game? Or is it because I clicked? It's because I clicked. Yep. All right. So this is cool. In the time that I've been talking, we've generated like a whole bunch of files. So, okay. I think we're getting close here. Yep, now it's just temp, and I almost feel like I should just move this somewhere else outside the repository. Honestly, I'm just gonna rename temp to be like local only. And I will add that here. Okay. Now we should be able to do a git status. All right. So we're going to do a git commit. And we're just going to say updated git ignore. Go ahead and do a git push. I thought I already did this. Wait, I definitely did this. What did I push before? Oh, it doesn't, well, history is not that big. Okay. Just to check, we're on, today is the 13th. Yep. So, okay. What is it again? Okay. Okay, and we pushed it. Cool. And if we do a git status, we should see that we're up to date. We're up to date. Nothing to commit. Working tree is clean. All right, so with that, let's start looking at documentation. So with that, I'm going to pause the agent. I'm just going to hit stop here. And so it's not as interesting. I'll keep this little image here. But yeah, let's start with documentation. So we're going to be using some commands in a PowerShell. That's this window I have here on the bottom right. It's just Windows PowerShell, because we're going to be doing stuff with Sphinx. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to source. We're going to activate the Python environment for that. So because we're in Windows, we have this in scripts, and it's a PowerShell script, activate.ps1, PS for PowerShell. And now we're here, and then we will do all the Sphinx stuff here. So the docs folder is what we have that is going to hold all this documentation. And I think I might have to look it up a little bit because Sphinx tutorial. So let's look at this. We can do, okay. So we're gonna cd into docs, and we're gonna do a make clean. Oh, okay. Dot slash make. Right. And because we're on Windows, is make.bat. Okay. We'll do clean. And I think this is going to, yes, removed everything under build. So build is now empty. You can see that the little expandy icon went away. And then we're going to do HTML. So it's running Sphinx. Okay, we're getting some warnings. That's what we're going to work on tonight. But it did kind of work. So if we go back to build, we see that it generated these files, HTML. And if we go here, there's an index.html, index.html, not HTML. And what we can do is we can copy absolute path, and then we can throw it in our browser, and we have some documentation, which is really exciting. So what we want to do is we want to make this so there's a little information. No, there's not. We just have placeholders for some pages that I wanted to have. But what's cool is we want to have, one of the main goals for tonight is to get game state. Is it game state? I think so. Go to states, game state.py. I wanted to get this more properly documented. There's a few functions. So I started adding things here. I want to get this to show up nicely. And what's cool is that it's like searchable here, right? So if we look for, if we just type in game state, it actually finds all of this, even though it's not showing it on the sidebar yet. So we can find this Python module, and then this is game state module, and then this comment is this comment here, right? So that's pretty cool. And then these are all the functions, and some of these functions have documentation, some of them don't. So This one has a little bit more documentation. So yeah, and then this is another module. So I kind of thought I would like to have, yeah, no, I think this is good. I was kind of like hoping to have like a page per class, but I don't know. So let's figure this out with the auto documentation. But I guess the first thing is, so the way that I run this, right? So we said that API is auto-generated, right? So I'm gonna delete these files. So Sphinx autodoc will generate these RST files, and then these RST files, when we call Sphinx make, will generate the HTML files under the build. But we're gonna delete all these, and let's look up here Sphinx autodoc. Okay, getting started. I think it'll be here somewhere. Okay, let's go here for complete. Okay. Oh, this is actual like syntax for autodoc, which is interesting. I think we might try out some of this, but I just want to get started using autodoc. It doesn't actually say how to use it. Unless I missed it. It says make HTML. There's autodoc. Is that where we're... But it doesn't actually say how to run it. There's like a Sphinx autodoc thing. Let's check out this Medium blog. Okay, we got Sphinx. Oh, interesting. Well, is it doing it? I thought I had to write a separate command. But it looks like, okay. It looks like maybe we don't need to do that. So let's check this out. Oh, I realize maybe you can't see the whole HTML page, but I think that's fine. Okay. So I'm just gonna do a make clean, and then I'm gonna do a make HTML. So we didn't get the warnings we had before, and I think API, yeah, API isn't generated. So, and we definitely want to have the API pages because sources, usage, yeah, we just have these under HTML. Yeah, so if now, for example, if we go back to where we were, right? and we could just click the home. If we type in game state, I don't think we're gonna find anything. Yeah, we didn't find anything. So the auto documentation for our source files is not being run. That's what I had to run separately. But what's interesting is that I talked about here adding something that just says this. Sphinx turn auto doc on. Is that? I want to see this. 2020, okay. Install Sphinx. So let's go to our Sphinx documentation, our conf.py. And we did change the theme before. We got this extension. And yeah, Sphinx RTD theme. That's the one we switched to. Update the version. Do we have a release here? Right. I thought I actually had put the release somewhere. Let's go ahead and put release. I think we're at 0.02. So I know we have a contribute folder and I made a roadmap. And if we look, I think we finished this one. So I don't know if I really showed that off in a stream yet, but I think we finished that. And then we did add PDDL actions for picking up, equipping, dropping actions. We haven't tested it. So I think we can't quite say we're done with that step yet. But anyway, so I would say there's 4 things we had wanted to do to get to a version 0.1. We're halfway there, so I think we're at 0.05. That's my reasoning. So let's do that in the conf.py. Let's do release 0.05. And that's a string. Okay, we got the path. So it also says the Google Python style guide. That seems like a good idea. So let's try that. I haven't myself spent a lot of time figuring out what style to write the documentation. So sphinx.ext.napoleon. I think I spelled that right. And okay, auto-generate the RST files. Okay, right. Okay, you have to run this command, sphinx-api-doc. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's try this then. Sphinx API doc -f -o. The source, this is going to be source /DCSS. And then it's gonna go in the API directory. So let's try this. So it's created one file. I want to reload from disk. No? Oh no, it added. Oh, did I put it in the wrong place? Did I switch them up? Oh, yep, I did. Yeah, I meant to switch these. So let's go delete that file. I'm curious to see what this is. Okay, yeah. Let's delete this file. Yep. We need to switch these. So API is the output path, and the source files are here. Okay. Okay, I didn't realize this before, but there's this modules. Oh, so maybe that's probably the entry point. So let's keep reading this blog. This blog looks pretty good so far. Okay, so I like this. And in our index, maybe we want to do, so I'd put API/game state, but I don't think there is that. Is there? There's not. So this doesn't exist. So that's probably why it doesn't show this. So I think what we want to do is API modules. So yeah, and maybe we want to reformat this a bit. I'm not sure the right way to go about doing that. Cause okay, for example, like on our what I kind of want to do is I want to have some pages here on the left that go over things, right? Like installation, about the game, about the API, quick start, creating an agent, and then I just want to have like the API, like just browse the API if you want. So with that being said, let's run. So I added API modules here. This is on our index.rst from the very beginning. So let's just do this now. Make HTML. Okay, I think we need to install this. Let's check this blog. Excuse me. Pip install Sphinx -rtd/. So I'm guessing there's a. I'm guessing this is a thing. Oh, interesting. Did we spell it wrong? Okay. Sphinx cannot find Napoleon theme. Wow. Or it's not a theme. It's an extension. Oh, did I just spell it wrong? Oh, I bet I did. It's E-O-N. I bet that's the issue. Yep, looks like that's the issue. Okay, so we still got these warnings from before, and I think that might just be with stuff around the actual documentation in the files. So we'll go through and fix that one by one. But let's see what we got now. So there is, okay, so a module index showed up here. Okay. My browser had cached it. So if you're on Windows and you're wanting to test this, just FYI, Control-Shift-R in most browsers we'll do a hard refresh, ignoring any cache. Okay, so it shows up here, API. So I want this to say, I kind of want this to say API. DCSS package, actions package submodules, action command module contents. This is interesting. This is ugly. I'd like to reformat this to be a bit nicer. Cool. So game state module is this one. Okay. Okay, and it's all shown up here nice on the left. That's really neat. That's super neat. Oh, that's cool. Very, very cool. So, okay. All right, so with this, let's take a break and we'll come back and play around a little bit more with the documentation. Okay. See you guys in a few minutes. All right, and we're back. So I don't think we're gonna do much more now. We kind of went through this documentation, which was a good first step. I do want to just see if we can push it to read the docs. So it's not on the master branch yet, but if you go to the repository and you go to one of the latest branches, even the branch for tonight, you'll see we have this little badge here. And if you click this, it'll go here, but there's nothing here yet. This is just a placeholder. So also there's an advertisement here. That's a little bummer, but I mean, I guess they have to pay for the service. So, and it's free for us. So that's fine. It's what everybody does, right? So let's see if we can push this. So read the docs hosting. And how do we get started? Okay. That's fine. I don't want to use MK docs. We're using Sphinx. Importing your documentation manually. Okay, so I've never done webhooks before, actually, for Git, but they sound very cool. I've been wanting to try them. Yeah, I would like to have new changes trigger builds for your project. So go to your projects, admin integrations, configure new webhook. Okay, so let's see if we can do this. And so read the docs.io. So okay, it says go to admin integrations. To configure a new webhook. Okay. So I see something. So you all aren't seeing what I'm doing, but I'm kind of walking through it. Just because I'm logged into the private account I have. So just, but I'm just following the instructions here. And okay. Oh, maybe we need to keep API. So actually, I want to just go here and just double check. Right, so there's nothing here yet. So okay. Let's resync the webhook. And let's just reset this. How does this work? Building your documentation. Build process. Let's check this out. Okay, community takes 15 minutes build time. Okay. Oh, to the branch you have specified in your project's configuration. So maybe that's why. Because I think it's pulling from the master branch right now. And we want it to keep pulling from the master branch. So in that case, let's just double check our repo. And this doesn't have a docs folder. Okay. So with that being said, I don't want to set it to be a certain branch right now. Maybe that's easy, and maybe I can just change it back later. Let's just try it. But after all, we're not even at version 0.1. We're gonna go back and change this anyway. So default version, default branch. So let's do. It has our branch from tonight. So let's do this, and let's try this. Yeah, default settings. Yeah, let's save this. And it says build a version, so build latest. Let's build it. All right, it looks like it's running. This is pretty cool. It says installing. It's cloning our repo. Hopefully it's getting the right documentation folder. Wow, if this works, that'd be super cool. Yeah, it found docs, the docs folder, and it's running all these commands. I think it's running LaTeX to generate a PDF. Build completed. Wow, guys, is this working? Let's go to our page. Oh my goodness, check this out. Wow, it just worked. This is a first for me. I've never pushed documentation to read the docs before. This is awesome. Wow. Oh, this page does not exist yet. Okay, interesting. Probably because the API is in our... Yeah, I think I'm going to remove the git ignore from that. So let's remove the git ignore. Let's see if we can get that pushed. So let's update the git ignore. This is pretty exciting stuff. So yeah, docs. Yeah, let's just remove all this. Okay, save this, and now let's actually add this. So git add docs API, and let's push this. Added API generated files. Say Sphinx autodoc. Okay, we're gonna do a git push, and then, well, let's also see. Yeah, in our index.rst, yeah, we list modules. So, okay. Oh, and it automatically just started building immediately. So I pushed that branch, and because it's tracking, it's building a new version. Wow, this is so cool. And it has different versions here. Latest. Downloads PDF. I want to see this. Oh my god. This is so cool. Wow. I mean, it's all empty, but this is super sweet. Okay, so some of this stuff is here. but it's not actually filled out or clickable or anything. Wow, this is cool. Okay, it says build completed. Let's do a refresh. It's here. It's working. Wow, this is cool. Yeah, we need to add a lot. We need to go through and add a lot of documentation. But then I want to see what the PDF looks like here. Is it much longer? No, it doesn't have. Okay. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. What's EPUB? Wow. Wow, this is neat. This is super neat. Very, very cool. Well, that's definitely a success for tonight. We did not have this working before. So looks like we realized we did need to keep the Sphinx AutoDoc files. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. So just heads up for any of you following along. I said this in the beginning, just to reiterate, we will not have a stream next week. So our next stream is going to be the week of April 26th. Probably going to shoot for another Tuesday night stream on April 27th, but we'll have to see. And yeah, thanks all for tagging along. If you had any questions about anything, leave a comment, or if you liked the video or didn't like the video, leave feedback. And